Okay, we are live. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope everyone's had a very good Friday. Hope everyone's looking forward for the weekend. Manchester United back in action against Newport County. Surely that's a must-win match as well. But let's get into some of the main stories of tonight's show. And I guess we're going to touch on something that's in the comments at the minute. It's about Marcus Rashford, who was missing from training today. Now, Marcus Rashford was over in Little Northern Ireland, very close to my own area. He was up at Larne, so he was up there at a football club called Larne Football Club, funny enough, and basically he was spotted last night at a local nightclub as well in Belfast, one that I frequented many nights as a student. That is Thompson's nightclub, for anyone interested or for anyone looking an interesting night out, let's call it that there. But yeah, look, I guess we'll get talking about some of that. You guys are active in the comments about that, so we'll kick off with this story about Marcus Rashford, I guess. Big T has said, with Rashford out clubbing last night and Ten Hag today now saying he is ill, is it not time that he gets the same treatment as Sancho? Is he done? Not really what you want to see. Now, I did see an article, or well, a quick tweet, I think it was maybe from Chris Winters, of the Daily Mail, and he basically had said Rashford was spotted on Wednesday night, obviously didn't train on the Thursday because that was a night off, and then they had the issue today with illness. So whether or not it's a hangover for 2 days, whether or not it's a different issue altogether, I'm not too sure. I've never been particularly convinced about these illnesses that everybody seems to pick up at the club. They seem to have something go wrong midweek, or they seem to have a bad match and all of a sudden they're ill for the next one. I'm not too sure if I'm buying that there one from Eric Ten Hag and from the Manchester United press associations, I guess. Jarl is saying, I think Rashford has twice done something like this, but if your manager's favourite, I guess you're allowed to do this. It's a good question. Look, it's not really what we want to see. Let me quickly move this over. I mean, look, I wouldn't go out to a nightclub if I was working the next day. I don't think Marcus Rashford should be doing so either, and obviously my job is a lot less physically demanding than Rashford's. But yeah, look, it's an interesting one. I want to get talking about the main story as well tonight that we're running a poll on, and that is Joshua Zirkzee. Let me know your thoughts on this one. This is a deal that seems to be brewing. A Bologna striker. He was at Bayern Munich, of course. It didn't really work out for him there. I guess he was probably wrong man at the wrong time because he was very young. He still is a very young striker as well, but trying to come into that team against the likes of Robert Lewandowski at that age probably wasn't the best idea, probably not the best career management there, but he seems to be doing well at Bologna. He's an interesting player, but I think we have enough young strikers, and I wouldn't mind someone with more experience. So if you guys want to vote in that poll, let me know your thoughts on Zirkzee. Is it a yes, is it a no, or would you rather someone more experienced as well, maybe to come in alongside Zirkzee, maybe to be a completely different option? Let me know your thoughts on that one down below, because striking position will be somewhere we're going to be strengthening in across the summer. And look, I'm a fan of Zirkzee. I think he's had a good season so far at Bologna. Let me put up some of his stats there really quickly just to go over them at a high sort of level, but he is a quick player. He does have goals this season, and Manchester United are definitely scouting Joshua Zirkzee. This is coming in from Plenty Goal. This is also coming in from Fabrizio Romano, so it does look like Joshua Zirkzee is in Manchester United's headlights. He is a Dutch player as well. I know we're going to start thinking Eric Ten Hag, Dutch players. Is he with the SEG agency? Is this something to be watching out for? He's got a valuation stats wise of about £30 million. We're being touted as a 40 million move, which probably would make sense at some point, but hopefully not anymore. But definitely this season has been a real breakout for Joshua Zirkzee at Bologna, really doing quite well there at the minute. In 18 matches in Serie A, he has 7 league goals and 3 assists as well, for a Bologna team really coming out of nowhere as well. I'll have a look at some of his other stats from Italian Cup as well. I think he's got some goals in that one. 2 goals, 2 assists in 3 matches. So look, he's in pretty good form. Nothing spectacular. Nothing really gonna make us get off our seats. But I think he's an interesting player. I think he's definitely got good attributes. He's very quick. He's very strong. He can hold the ball up, and could he be a good player to play alongside Højlund if you wanted a forward too? I'm not too sure. I think you'd want to see someone a little bit more experienced in alongside him. Jarl says, I think we can toss most rumours to bed when it comes to summer transfers. The new director of football will scratch every plan. They might do. or they might also want some of these players as well. I think you will have players who will be seen as club signings, and they'll kind of be brought in regardless of who the manager is going to be, because they're just a good player or it's a really good deal for a young player that most managers will be able to make the most of. Anyway, Rajat is down there. Good to see you. I don't think United's getting anyone this window. Absolutely not, Rajat. But summer window will be coming up soon enough. We're getting very close to February. We're getting very close to that sort of time. Really, you want to see business starting to pick up around about May, June time, and I think that's going to be the transfer stuff. I think, logically speaking, look, we have February, we have March, April, May, and June, and then we're into the transfer window officially. So we've got about 5 months. I think you're going to see the big high-level appointments within the next month. Director of football, technical director, head of recruitment. You're going to see those appointments very soon. That's going to be within February. Then you would imagine after that, you'll probably have Erik ten Hag on a bit of a job interview. Whether or not he's going to be kept on past May is a very big question at the minute. And look, at the moment, form's not going well, but winning the FA Cup could go some strides towards keeping his job, depending on what the Ineos head of recruitment and what those sporting directors are going to think of the situation and the job he's done this season as a whole. They will look at it, but look, it will be an interesting one for sure. I guess if we want to talk interesting as well, Jurgen Klopp leaving Liverpool at the end of the season, that's potentially going to complicate our plans. Now look, it's good that such a steady and stabilising influence that Liverpool Football Club is going, but that means that you have Liverpool going into the managerial market, Liverpool going in looking for new directors. You might also have Real Madrid going in for a new manager as well, depending on what happens with Ancelotti. So you could find yourself competing with some of the bigger names in European football who might have Champions League football next season, who might be further on in their processes looking for a manager to come in. So certainly an interesting one. I still think, look, we got that poll. We're pulling people out of Man City and we're getting Pep Guardiola very upset. And don't get me wrong, I love that. I really love that. The Pep's getting annoyed, because previously when Pep's just been saying nice things about us, we've just been, this guy doesn't take us seriously as a rival. But now he's getting a little bit upset in his press conferences. He's getting a little bit annoyed, and that's what we want to see from Pep Guardiola as well. What have got 11 votes so far in that poll. 36% would take Zirkzee, 36% would say no, and a further 27% would say no, we need more experience up front. And I completely understand that as well. I think, look, looking ahead to summer, if we want to conjure up what the ideal window might look like, I think you're looking at another striker. I think you're looking at a right back. I think you're looking at least one centre back, and I think you're looking at another midfielder. So it's a big window coming up. There will be a lot of signings, hopefully. There will be good signings, hopefully. And it's going to be an interesting couple of months. It really is. And I guess it's going to be something we're going to enjoy covering here on the channel for sure, as always with you guys. Look, last summer was really, really good fun. So many players signed. Lots of rumours, lots of things we went through. We had some really good summer nights, and I'm sure we'll have plenty more of them coming up this year as well. Guess I want to move on really quickly and have a look ahead to Newport County. That's going to be Sunday's match. There will be a watch along as well for that, so make sure to tune in for that there one on Sunday. But yeah, look, Newport County, they're League 2 at the minute. I'm pretty sure that they are maybe 15th or 16th. In League 2, so it's not like you're coming up against a formed team. You're coming up against a team that's only 10 places or less away from National League teams. You know, we really should be beating these kind of teams. Not just the results should be given, it should be an easy win. It should be 3 or 4-0, very comfortable, very simple, and that's what we want to see as well. What have I got here from Big T? Rajak wants to see Garnacho on the left wing. Yeah, I'd want to see it as well. Don't give that kid the feeling. Don't give that damn kid feeling out of the academy. Big T says, with Berrada jumping ship and Klopp bottling it, do we need to stand up and applaud Radcliffe for putting fears into our opponent? I don't know if it's Jim. I think even watching that very, very brief Klopp video earlier, he looked pretty worn out. Like, he looked pretty tired, and that's kind of what he was saying in that, is that he's gone time and time and time and time again with Liverpool, but now he feels like it's time to go. So I don't know what the case is there. I guess between Jurgen Klopp leaving Liverpool, between these 115 cases for Man City, we might be coming into our run at the right kind of time. Because, yeah, I mean, Arsenal are a good team, but I don't know if we're going to seriously take um, Arsenal as top contenders, favourites for the league every season if they don't win it this year. They might not do. I think you're looking at Tottenham. They're a very good team under Big Ange, absolutely, but again, a couple of injuries have kind of disrupted their season. I think Chelsea are a long way off. So there's potential for us to be getting more serious as a club at a good time when the big rivals around us are going through periods of transition and change that might hold them up. It might not. Look, City might get off with all 115 charges and just be back to doing what they were doing. Liverpool might appoint Xabi Alonso and it'll just be the natural continuation of what they were building already. But it could be a good time to be a United fan. It could be a good time for Jim to be coming in. And it's going to be a big time for Erik ten Hag as well, because I think he's going to be under a lot of pressure. I think he will be under a lot of stress at the moment, and probably rightly so, going by our results, going by what we're getting out of this team. And I guess when we look at it in that point of view, he's got to step up, he's got to get these results, and he's got to really turn things around. There is still a salvageable season. I still think if we went on a run, we could get top four. I still think if we went on a run in the cup, we could maybe get close to winning it. It is still a cup, but these things are getting more and more unlikely every single week with every poor, negative, dull, and inspiring performance. Every time we drop points or get beat by Nottingham Forests or get beat by your West Ham United, you're slipping further and further and further away from what you can be as a team. So, look, I don't think it's a good time to be Erik ten Hag in that sense. I think he's got to step up, and I don't know if he's got the capabilities of doing that within himself at the moment or with this team, and there does seem to be issues within our side as well. So it's going to be an interesting couple of months for sure. Lots of change will be coming, and I guess we just have to look forward to it. I've been looking forward to this change for a really, really long time. And at least there's going to be some kind of accountability now. And I think it starts with Omar Berrada. I think it also will start with what Ineos are going to be doing in the market as well, who they're going to be bringing in to run the show. Big T has put a good comment in there as well with Klopp. Will Klopp leaving speed up the outing of Ten Hag as Ineos will want to grab a manager before Liverpool do? I think yes and no. I think it's going to show that there's a potential opportunity to capitalize on here. I would expect Liverpool are going to go for Xabi Alonso. I think that's going to be the move they go for. Look, if this was 4 or 5 years ago, they probably would have wanted Steven Gerrard. I think their plan would have been for Gerrard to go to Aston Villa, and if things went well at Villa, then maybe you would look at him as the natural successor to Jurgen Klopp. But it didn't go well at Villa. It didn't go well after that as well, and now he finds himself in Saudi Arabia. So I think it's going to be Xabi Alonso. That's what I think is going to be the most likely. They've had a very, very good start to the season, unbeaten in the first 18 matches of the Bundesliga. 15 wins. They're right up there. They might go on to win the Bundesliga this season, and that's probably a good appointment for them. We have questions to ask because we don't know what the plan's going to be, what the ideas are going to be, and that's kind of the thing that might put us a little bit behind. And the reason I say that is Liverpool have a team that's kind of built already. They're probably going to lose some players in the summer, but they have a vision. They have a long-term plan that's already been there, that already exists and still does exist. So then we'll know what kind of manager they want. It's going to take whoever comes in as director of football, head of recruitment, to have a look at what's going on at the club. Who's staying, who's going, what they're going to do, who's coming in order to decide upon a solid play. What kind of football do we want to play? And these are big decisions that are going to have to be made. And we need to set the tone of the sporting project, and that has to be done by those above, because ultimately the managerial position is something that will be subject to change. And I can see the manager spot at United becoming more of a head coach position, which should mean less of a reliance on them to actually end up running the show. It should mean less of a reliance on them to be the big decision makers and be the guys making the calls week in, week out. And it means you get a more natural continuation, and if things aren't working with your manager, you can make that alteration without disrupting the entire sporting project. So I think when you have a look at it, because at the minute we've got a team that's kind of been assembled by Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and Erik ten Hag, and that's not good. That's really not good. That's not what you want. You don't have a distinct style of play for this entire squad, and that's a concern. And that's something that competent sporting boards wouldn't have done. And look, that's not Erik ten Hag's fault. It's not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's fault. It's not Jose Mourinho's fault. Even before that, Jose was working with lots of players, and by Van Gaal, by Fergie players, and by David Moyes signings. So it is a big concern in that sense, and that is something we need to move away from, and I'm glad we are moving away from it, but it might take a while longer to get to that point as opposed to being there immediately, because we want to have a squad capable of playing several different ways, and a squad that is capable of playing in the style that we want to play. That's so important that we're able to do that there. And whenever we look at it through that lens, you can't go from Louis van Gaal football and jump to Jose Mourinho football to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer football to Ten Hag football with a core of the same players. You need to be moving players in, you know, moving players out, and have a continuation. Kind of what you see at the big clubs. Look, you see it at Bayern Munich, you see it at Dortmund, you'll probably see it at Real Madrid and Barcelona. Regardless of who the manager is, they always play a certain style of football, and that's how they play football. Most big teams do that nowadays. Big T says Ten Hag to Liverpool is 20-1 odds. I can't see that one happening personally, man. I wonder what the odds on Klopp going to United are as well. That's probably a similar kind of territory anyway. But look, it certainly is an interesting one to think about. I don't think we're going to be doing a manager swap with Liverpool anytime soon. I would be absolutely stunned if that happened. But really, it is an interesting kind of thought. Where do we go as a football club? Where do we go in terms of managerial appointments? I did see one, and there is one that I can share with you guys. And it is out there. It doesn't seem to be a widely picked up on story, but it's coming from Uppeteers and Stretford Trends. And they basically said Miguel Sanchez of Girona is heavily fancied by Man United. They're looking at him. And whenever I did a little bit of research, I had a little bit of a look in at what Girona are doing. Obviously, they're smashing things up in the Liga, as we know. This is fact. This is complete fact. But they play a very similar style of football to what Ten Hag's Ajax team was. And there's a lot of similarities in those teams, not least Daley Blind having a starring role in both teams, but certainly they do play good attacking football, and they're at the top of La Liga for a reason. And could that be a potential appointment? Initially, you would take a look at it and you would say, look, Girona is part of the City group. Girona are part of the group linked to Man City, but then you remember we've got Omar Berrada from Man City just last week. So is that something that's doable? Is that something we can do or have a look at? I'm not too sure, but it's definitely one to keep an eye out on. I think other options are out there. I think Thomas Tuchel does seem to be heavily favoured by a few as well. That could be an interesting one. Obviously, a lot of upheaval at Bayern Munich at the moment. Technical directors leaving, big players looking out. The likes of Kimmich potentially going. Thomas Müller could be going. A lot of change at Bayern Munich. You might see Thomas Tuchel moved on. That could be another good appointment. I am a fan of Tuchel. I think he was really, really hard done by at Chelsea, and really, I'm sure that Todd Bowley is regretting that decision at this moment in time. Big T says Ten Hag is a fan of Gravenberch. I think most managers would be. You've got a good footballer there, physical profile, tall, strong, good ball carrier, good passer in the middle of the pitch. I think Gravenberch probably would be someone most football managers would be a fan of. Probably in the same way as Scott McTominay is. You know, all United managers do seem to like Scott McTominay. They work with the passion, the physicality that he can bring. Yeah, he's not a flashy footballer, but there's certainly a reason why every manager since Jose Mourinho has played him. You've obviously, Jose invented an award just to give to Scott McTominay as well. Jarl is down there. Nagelsmann, Alonso, or Mourinho are my favourite to take over Liverpool. Ten Hag 2 years ago could have been a favourite at Liverpool, but his disaster season this year has ruined that. Big T says, well, that team is already built. Mourinho, then Liverpool should call. Nah, I don't think so. I don't think that'll be their call. I think they go Alonso. And the reason I think they go Alonso is because they're probably going to look at it and say, right, we got a core of players here. We moved some on last year in Fabinho and Jordan Henderson, but there are still some older players here that we're going to have a long-term look at. You know, you are looking at Mohamed Salah, you are looking at Virgil van Dijk, two of the biggest players for Liverpool, still playing really well, but they're going to need a long-term succession plan for them eventually. at some point. And I think they will look to move on from Klopp, and I think they'll look at what they're doing at Bayer Leverkusen. And Alonso at Bayer Leverkusen doing really well with back three. You could put Van Dijk in the middle of a back three, and that would probably prolong his career as well. You'd be doing less direct defending anyway, and he would have cover. You could put Gomez or Konate beside him. And that's probably what they'll look to do. I think Mourinho's very unlikely. I think they seem to have a sporting principle that they're going by. Stephanie says 13 likes. Big up to you, Stephanie, as well. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, we're up to 13 likes, which is really good as well. And guys, thanks very much for, I don't think it was last night, it was Wednesday night stream. We ended up getting like 37 likes on that. So really, thank you very much for dropping the likes. It does really help out as well. It only takes a second as well to do that one. Big T says, how many players will want to play without Klopp? Could you see a player exodus? I mean, anything's possible. Look, you could see, I think it'd be an interesting one. I think it's a really weird time for them to announce this. It might galvanize them and push them towards a big season, or it might mean that they fall apart. Once the news of Fergie coming out came was made public, United kind of fell apart in that season, even when Fergie was still there. You know, we scraped a win against Swansea. We conceded 5 goals and a 5-5 draw with West Brom. So anything could be possible in that sense. But yeah, look, I'm sure Liverpool will have a plan. I'm sure we have a plan. I'm sure Radcliffe has a plan. I do want to run through some of the other news stories of the day as well. Some of them I think we can disregard, and some of them I think are interesting that we can look at. Rich Fair from Manchester Evening News has said United could lose Omar Forson for free in the summer. Forson recently rejected the latest contract made to him, and his current deal expires in June. Talks are ongoing to find a resolution for all parties, but it is looking increasingly likely Forson will leave Man United this year. I think he's quite good, Omar Forson. I don't think he's by far the best wide player in the academy. He's not the best in the left or the right for me, and if he goes, I'm not really overly too bothered. Gani is down there. Good to see you, Gani. Thanks for joining in. But yeah, look, I think there's a decent player in Omar Forson. Maybe not anything spectacular, but I think we could let him go and not really miss out on too much. There's better players in the academy, better players coming through than Omar Forson, but that's an interesting story. One I think we can have a look at and disregard is Manchester United have been offered the opportunity to sign former Barcelona striker Martin Braithwaite before the end of the transfer window. I think we can put Martin Braithwaite up there with Choupo-Moting. I think we can put him up there with Wout Weghorst, Odion Igalo. These are players are not going to be signed, and really you would have to ask what kind of difference is Martin Braithwaite going to bring to Manchester United. Let me have a look at where Martin Braithwaite is, because I'm not even sure where he's playing at the minute either. I know he went to Barcelona and they kind of were stuck with the guy for a long time. Big T says, could we see Pep leaving? He's always said he's enjoyed his battles with Klopp. Pep seems to be really doubling down. He did say even if Man City got 115 charges and were charged with him and put to the bottom league in England, that he would still be the manager. So I don't know. I'd be surprised personally. Just for interest, Martin Braithwaite is playing for Espanyol, and they're in the second division of Spanish football. He's got 11 goals in 21 appearances this season. I mean, it's a good goal to game ratio, but what's the quality of that league? There's others we can go through as well. This is one I want to get talking about anyway. It's Pep Guardiola talking about Omar Berrada. So he says, if Omar Berrada is not happy here and wants to go there, he has to leave. What can we do? There is nothing wrong with it. If it happens, if we want a United player and United agree to sell him and the player wants to come, why wouldn't we do it? First and foremost, he's not getting Kobe Mainoo, no matter how nicely he asks. But he's also been talking, look, transfers between Man City and Man United, why not? If a person's not happy, then there's a deal to be done at the right price. There is no problem. He's a lovely person and an incredible professional. Yesterday I saw him and wished him the best, but I don't know if him going there will make everything work. I like that. And the reason I like that is because Pep has been so nice and full of praise for our team for a long time, and that's because he doesn't even see us as a threat. He sees us... that's why he does that. So I think if he's getting wound up, I think if he's getting annoyed, that's maybe a good sign. Maybe that is something to be positive about there. And do you know what? The more the angrier Pep gets, and the more flustered he gets talking about us, yeah, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. Let's let's see Pep lose his mind even more. That's absolutely what I want to see. He's done it again there as well. He says Pep Guardiola on Omar Berrada. Maybe United thinks this person's going to change. Everything. Congratulations. I'm glad that he's getting very annoyed. I'm sure you guys are as well. We want Pep to be taking us seriously, and we want to be making the other teams around us worried. And that's something that we want to see moving forward as well. Muppeteers have been talking as well. Now, this will kind of go and talk in terms of what I was talking about earlier as well. Something definitely to keep an eye on is the incoming of the executives of the guys who are going to be running the show, the head honchos, if you want to call them that. Ineos are planning a big summer for Manchester United. The new CEO is already done. Next, they want the new directors of sport and of recruitment to join in February so that they all can begin work on the summer. So they're going to be summer planning for 3 months. That's probably the most planning we've ever had in terms of a summer in about 10 years. I really thought that Richard Arnold was doing too much work. He was probably asking Eric Ten Hag, who do you want? And we'll try to get him. That's probably what they were doing there. And Ed Woodward was probably looking up at a spreadsheet seeing which player was selling the most shirts, and that's how he planned his summer transfer windows. But it does look good. It does look good. Ineos have also confirmed by Muppeteers as well. Ineos' 25% stake in United is expected to be approved by the 4th of February. So that's within a week or so, really. The appointments of a new sporting director and director of football will come into play immediately afterwards. So we will be making those calls getting very soon. I'm glad about that. The ratification should be around the 4th of February as well. So that's positive. Big T says Pep wants McTominay to replace De Bruyne. I know he does, and he needs to back off. maybe so. He can have he can have Jadon Sancho back if he wants him anyway. No, I'm joking. According to other sources as well, looks to be the 4th of February for this ratification for the Ineos deal. So that's pretty soon. It's getting close. They're going to be in full control, and we're going to have the sporting directors and people knowing what they're doing with all the money we're going to be investing. How fun and exciting does this sound as well? In other news, Manchester United youth goalkeeper Radek Vitek has signed a new contract until June 2027 and will join Accrington Stanley on loan until the end of the season. Good to see players going out on loan. Lots of young players heading out in this window. I'm not too surprised about that as well. Laurie Whitwell says we're not expected to make any signings before the transfer deadline. Tight finances mean even loans have now been ruled out at this point. And one other big story I do want to get talking about before we go into comments and just talking what you guys want to get talking about. This is really exciting for me. This is something I have been telling you guys about for a while. Italian talent Simeone Pafundi has joined Ineos' own side Lausanne from Udinese on a 1-year loan deal with the option to buy for 15 million euros. Now you tell me, how many Swiss teams are buying Serie A players, very, very highly young rated players, for 15 million euros? Not very many. I've been thinking this for a while. I've been saying about this for a while. I think you're starting to see the development of a multi-club system under the Ineos ownership. And I would expect if Pafundi does really well at Lausanne, and he will then go to Nice. And then from Nice, I guess he's going to make that move to Manchester United. And that's something to be excited about. Really, really is. And something I want to see us do more of is bringing these young players in, getting them lots of experience in Switzerland, in Nice, really, really good leagues to be developing players in, especially French league. That's really good. Big T says Ineos are stocking lasagna up and players to feed us. Maybe so, but that's an exciting one for sure, guys. Multi-club system, lots of clubs do it. Manchester United now getting in on the action as well. He's got a plan. Jim has got a plan. Don't worry. We're seeing it unfold before our eyes, and let's just keep seeing where this is going. Look, it's exciting. It is an exciting time, and by all accounts, Pafundi seems to be a really highly young rated player as well. I think he's only 17, so you would imagine he might go there for 2 years to Switzerland until he's maybe age 19, and then he would go to Ligue 1 maybe for 2 years until he's 21, and if he's ready, then next step to Manchester United, and it's all Ineos money going to Ineos clubs as well. That'll help everyone's financial fair play out, and if Lausanne are getting 15 million euro transfers spent, then they're probably going to be looking 30 million coming in from Nice, and Nice will probably look at 50 coming from United. So it probably works out well for everybody as well. And look, this probably is a very mutually beneficial agreement. I wouldn't mind seeing a step between club. I'm not too sure what the distance between the Swiss League and the Ligue 1 is going to be, but it's an interesting one. Big T says Jim is delivering a masterclass. He seems to have every angle covered. I've been very impressed so far, and look, there's a lot of work to do. I'm not going to say it's job done, we're back, because it's a long way from that. But the early signs are very positive, and I feel good about it. I feel positive about it. And that's good. That's good. Chris Wheeler has said Manchester United believe videos of Marcus Rashford at Thompson's nightclub in Belfast were taken on Wednesday night, not Thursday, which is what those who have took the videos have claimed. Rashford missed training today after reporting ill, but there is quote unquote no issue. That is coming in from Chris Wheeler. But yeah, look, this kind of to be expected anyway. I could have told you that as well, because Thompson's nightclub don't really have a Thursday night. They've got a Wednesday night and they've got a Tuesday night. Those are the nights like you go there, or at least it was whenever I was a student 3 years ago, maybe. So unless too much has changed since then. But I mean, it's not a particularly upmarket place. I'm surprised Marcus Rashford ended up at it. It could be the equivalent of taking a Premier League footballer and bringing him to Weatherspoons if you told them where you're taking them for a couple of pints and a nice dinner. But it is what it is. Gets the job done. Let me see as well some other stuff I want to get talking about on tonight's show. I want to go through some of what Ten Hag was saying in today's press conference. Some interesting quotes as we're building up towards the Newport County match. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm not too sure if anyone's seen the video of Newport's changing room, of what it looks like, but picture your school changing rooms from back in the day whenever we were doing PE, and that's pretty much what we're working with. So Ten Hag has said on Ineos, I'm sure Ineos and me will be very aligned on this. We understand we need to change. We started that process last season with the dressing room, but many departments also need change. I'm very happy to raise the standards, to collaborate more, and Ineos can have a big impact on that. Whether or not he's going to get the time for it, I don't know. Big T says maybe Rashford booked the club private for a Thursday. I don't think so, because I could hear distinctive Belfast voices saying, "There's Marcus Rashford," and shouting Marcus in the videos. So I know that, don't worry, Ghani's in there. Can't wait to see Altay Bayandere in goal for us. I think he's good enough to be getting games for us. Yes, that is the big story as well. Altay Bayandere debut on Sunday. Maybe we see Mason Mount return as well. He has been working hard back in training as well. I'm sure Ten Hag has given us some quotes on that as well. Let me quickly see. Ten Hag on the FA Cup being the last trophy of the season. It's the truth, but the league qualification for Champions League, FA Cup is, as you said, probably the last opportunity for a trophy for us, and we will go for it. There is no room for error in the cup. We have to go and take every game seriously, as we would hope so. We can't turn up to Newport County and get beat. That might be cause for us to liquidate the club and begin all over again. Ten Hag has said as well, I've looked in terms of transfers, there is no space for FFP to do anything about the lack of quantity in the striking position. Of course, Marcus can play as a striker. We have some other alternatives, and it's clear that Anthony Martial is out for a couple of months. It's a gap in our squad, to be clear. So we have no money. We can't even bring in a loan signing. Maybe Big T is going to get his wish, and we could see Scott McTominay up front if it comes to it. Maybe that's something we're going to see. Who knows? Possibilities are endless. The possibilities are indeed endless with this as well. Ten Hag is insisting Bayandere can cope with the pressure of the FA Cup. I don't know what they're talking about, FA Cup pressure. We're playing Newport County, 14th place in League 2. This should not be a pressured match. I should be able to play in goal for United, and they should still win the match. He says Bayandere will play in goal. What we can expect from him, he has to wait for his opportunity, but his experience and his play for a big club in Turkey under a lot of pressure, he knows how to deal with it. We are convinced, so we're looking forward to Sunday, and Altay is very excited to be playing. But it's good to see. Let's see how he gets on in this one. Any other quotes from Erik Ten Hag on the nothing really in terms of the injuries. not too much of an update anyway. We do have the update from Political that I was discussing earlier around Joshua Zirkzee, one to be keeping an eye out on as well. United are keen on signing Bologna striker Joshua Zirkzee in the summer transfer window, following the Italian side has made it clear he is not for sale in the January window. He will have a summer release clause of 40 million euros, so a deal could be done for that amount if we deem it a worthy signing. I think he's quite good. I don't think he's a bad player. I think his goal to game ratio is not. It's not too shabby. I think in the league, we went through it earlier. It was 9 goals from 17 with 3 assists, and in the Cup, I think it was 2 goals in 3 matches. So 11 goals in 20 matches so far this season. It's not too bad. It's not a bad ratio. Obviously Bologna doing really well in the league this season in terms of their points tally. They're probably overperforming where they would expect to be as a club, but I think £40 million, it's not a bad price to play for a striker, but whether or not he is the striker we're going to go for, I don't know, because the thing is, and what I will say is he is still young. He is, what, I think 22, 23 maybe. Do we want someone more experienced, someone in their late 20s? Is that the option we want to go for in the summer? I don't know. I don't know if you want to have 2 really similar profiles in Højlund and Zirkzee. Do you maybe go for like an Ivan Toney or someone like that there? You're seeing talks with Callum Wilson. I think Callum Wilson's a really good striker, but I also think his hamstrings are made of spaghetti. It's unfortunate, but he's not the option there. Do you look at Solanke? Do you look at somebody like that? I'm not too sure. Lots of different options out there anyway. But look, Zirkzee's an interesting one. I just don't see us bringing him in, to be honest with you guys. If anyone has any more ideas about Joshua Zirkzee, let me know. Yanni says, who is one United player on loan you would like to see back? I feel like Ten Hag should give the young left-back Fernandes a chance. I like him. I do like Alvaro Fernandes. I think he's a solid player. I think there's good qualities in his game. I think when you look at it, you might have a better left-back coming through in Harry Almas, but that's something that he still needs to develop, but he's certainly looking really good, and he looks like a similar type player to Luke Shaw. I guess if we want to go through some of the loan players who we could bring back, maybe not too many of them really get involved in it. Look, I'm gonna obviously exclude Mason Greenwood from this situation because he's probably never coming back from back to Manchester United. I think maybe, yeah, Alvaro Fernandes could be an option. You got what, Dan Gore, Donny van de Beek, Hannibal. I mean, maybe you bring Hannibal back. Maybe that's the alternative there to Fernandes. Maybe you're right there, Gani, but it's not a bad idea. But yeah, look, Zirkzee's a pretty good player as well. Big T says that I want Hannibal back so McTominay can play striker. There we go. Big T. What's the T stand for? Tactical. There we go. Big tactics from Big T. But yeah, look, Zirkzee, good technical ability, receives the ball well with the back to goal and links up play as well. He's good, but there is issues in Josh Zirkzee's game. Obviously, this is the first season he's really arrived in senior football. Is this a big deal we want to go for? I think Højlund's a better player anyway. I think technically he's a better player, better ball striking, stronger, quicker, and capable of doing more. But look, it's one potential option. There'll be a lot of players and a lot of strikers linked to us in the next couple of weeks and months. Maybe Toney is the one we go for. Ivan Toney, I think could be the one. Maybe that could be the one we go for. But interesting to see what's going to happen there. I guess a lot's going to depend on what happens in the next couple of months with Champions League qualification, what we do in terms of the incoming summer transfer window as well. There's going to be a lot of big calls made, a lot of big decisions needing to be made across the board and across the pitch, and I'm sure the striking position will be one of them. But it is frustrating, guys, as well, and the reason I said so frustrating is because how many strikers, right wingers, centre midfielders, centre backs have we signed in the last couple of years? Far too many. Far too many. And we just have never gotten it right, and we find ourselves going in the loop of having to continually invest in those areas. Again, he says, why didn't we go for a striker like Gift Orban? Leon has got a proper striker for 13 million. I like Gift Orban. I think he's done really well since he's arrived in Europe. I think maybe we're looking at it from the point of view that he is still very young. Do we need 2 young strikers like we've got Højlund and someone else. Big T said, we offer Joe Linton the money Newcastle won't pay him. Nah, I'm not going to take Joe Linton, man. I think there's better players out there. Don't don't worry. Let me just quickly have a check of something, because it was something I did see, and maybe I want to have a quick look at it. Let me just double check something here, guys. It was something. It wasn't just because I think there is a lack of genuine quality strikers out there. I seen someone saying maybe signing somebody like an Ollie Watkins could be a shot. I think there's a good player in Ollie Watkins, to be honest, but I would have took Taremi. I don't think that deal's possible now. I think he might have went to Inter Milan, or is going to Inter Milan if he hasn't already. I guess if you're looking Premier League, Ivan Toney probably stands out the most. Do you look at a Ben Yedder type player? I'm not too sure. I do think we need another forward option, especially with Martial 100% leaving the club. But yeah, look, I think you might be looking at a lot of Premier League based players, and that does seem to be something Radcliffe had been hinting at, and that does seem to be something that is coming from a lot of different outlets. Is we're being charged the same amount for players coming from abroad who don't have the same success rate, so maybe we're safer paying that money and getting Premier League players like an Elise, players like a Neto, players like a Solanke or a Tony, players in those midfield areas like Amadou Onana. Maybe these are potential signings we could go for. I think we've got to spread ourselves and look around. I would like to see us buying more South Americans. There's a lot of top young players coming out of there as always, and we just never seem to tap up those markets, so we need to be on the ball enough in that sense. Kind of the way Brighton are, kind of the way the likes of Benfica are as well. Lots of good players coming out of that area. Argentina and Brazil especially, but Colombia, Ecuador producing a lot of good young players as well. So something to be keeping an eye out on. Hopefully we'll be doing it. Big T says, if Højlund gets injured, who is the centre forward? The forward options then, I mean, you're talking Marcus Rashford, you're maybe talking McTominay, or you could probably play Charlie McNeil. I mean, Charlie McNeil did come back from his loan at Stevenage. He's in the club. Do we play Charlie McNeil if needs be? I'm not too sure. Thank you very much, guys, for 15 likes as well. Much appreciated for that there. When obviously it's always a quiet enough stream on a Friday night, but it is what it is, one of those things. 19 votes in that poll, 53% would take Josh Zirkzee in the summer, which is a majority vote, which I'm surprised at. I thought a lot of you guys would prefer the more experienced option out there as well, but I'll take a quick look. I just want to have one quick look at something here. I'll have a look at this, because I think if we're going to be looking at domestic recruitment, maybe it makes sense to have a look at who we could sign from the Premier League, and if we need goals, who's the top goal scorers in the league. Obviously, to no one's surprise, you got Erling Haaland, you got Mo Salah. Those are not signable players. Dominic Solanke could be when we go for, obviously, ex-Liverpool, ex-Chelsea, so he's been around. Who else have we got here as well? I don't think we're going to get Hwang Yi-chan. I don't think we're going to be getting Chris Wood. Ollie Watkins is a potential other option out there as well that we could look at. I guess if we're talking assists as well, I think if we want to look at it more domestically, I think you could be looking at people like Neto, or you could be looking at Elise, but they've also got issues as well. Fitness being the main one. Repetitive injuries are not good for young players as well. So definitely a lot of interesting calls to be made anyway. One player does seem to be cropping up there is Pascal Gross. I think he's a really good player, but he's like 32, 33. Loves a goal against us anyway. Look, guys, any more thoughts, make sure to drop them in down below. Let me know your thoughts. We'll go through anything you guys want to talk about. If you want to talk about weekend plans, pizza, let me know your thoughts. Or if you guys want to get talking about United summer transfer plans, Jurgen Klopp leaving Liverpool, Pep meltdown at City, let me know as well. Get those thoughts into the comments, and I'll have a quick look to see if there's anything of interest to bring in to you guys. Let me see. What have we got? Nothing really too much in there anyway. Interesting one to bring up and of note, maybe we could talk about, is a match in Belgium's top flight will be replayed due to a VAR mistake. The game played on December 23rd, so Anderlecht beat Genk through a 91st minute winner, but has now been wiped out due to a significant VAR penalty error. So that's an interesting one. I haven't seen that there one happen before. I might have to go back and watch the video of this, but I mean that's an interesting one. You don't want to see matches replayed. You go with the on-field result. I mean, I know you can change decisions on pitch. I know we've seen that before, and I know United have benefited from that in the fact that full-time whistle went, and yet the VAR was still looking at a penalty call and ultimately gave us the penalty that led to us winning the match against Brighton. But I think this is a whole different ball game. This game was played over a month ago. Gani is down there. Ollie Watkins would be a good signing for us, but I don't think Villa will sell. Plus, they look a better team than us anyway. Yeah, I would agree with that as well, Gani. Look, there'll definitely be some plenty of players that we could look at, plenty that maybe we should look at, but we're only going to sign a handful. We're only going to sign 4 or 5 players tops. That's what I reckon we're going to be seeing anyway. An interesting one is Marcus Rashford was in Northern Ireland at Larne FC yesterday to see his best friend and former teammate Roshan Williams. Jerry Flynn, the manager of Larne, said Marcus arrived and spent some time chatting to everyone. He's a lovely guy. An interesting one to keep an eye out on. Look, I think Rashford will always seem to get some bad one. Big T says there will be some Premier League games that need replaying then. Yeah, look, if we can replay that 2010 match against Chelsea, where Drogba and I think it was Florent Malouda were both offside, and that game gave Chelsea the league. If we can go back and play that one, I wouldn't complain too much. Just of interest, is Roshan Williams playing for Larne? Because if so, that is a very big fall from grace anyway, from a player who was highly rated at one point anyway. Fletcher Moss, Manchester United. Yeah, Roshan Williams has signed for Larne, so that's why Rashford was over there. That's an interesting one. Daniel hasn't heard of Josh Zirkzee. Got to be good looking for Josh Zirkzee, man. He's like, it sounds a bit like Josh Zirkzee, maybe, if we want to go down the YouTube route. Daniel says hello as well. Good to see you, Daniel. Thanks very much for hopping on in here, man. I hope I hope you're doing good after passing the exam as well for the security stuff. And yeah, look, I hope to see you tackling a pitch invader at the Stadium of Light or at St James's Park in the very near future. Like, if you guys are watching Sunderland or Newcastle matches and you see a steward running across the pitch, 2-footing a pitch invader, that's probably Daniel. So big ups to Daniel anyway. Gotta love it. And yeah, look, I think that's pretty much going to do us for the stream tonight anyway, guys. About 50 minutes done. Yeah, look, we'll do that. We'll leave it there for tonight. There should be a video up tomorrow as well, and we will be live tomorrow night as well for Saturday Night Live. We'll watch some, go through all the FA Cup results, have a look at the preview as well in some more detail, and get looking forward to the rest of the weekend as well. Look, guys, thanks so much for joining in. Really appreciate everyone sticking with me tonight. Big ups on those, 17 likes as well. Much appreciated. Big T says, am I watching France versus Ireland rugby? I probably will be, yeah. When's the match? Let me just double check. It's pretty soon. Not tonight, is it? Pull up Ireland versus France. I'll have to check here, man. 2nd of February. Yeah, I'll be watching that. Don't worry, man. I think we actually play Italy as well pretty soon. There's some tickets going. I might try buy some anyway for that. But look, guys, thanks very much for joining in with us. Really appreciate all the support. We'll catch everyone in the next one. Have a good night. Have a good Saturday. And enjoy the football. Enjoy the rugby as well.